1984 by George Orwell. In this video, we are going to first discuss the author's profile, then an overview of the summary, the plot, the themes, and finally the message in the novel. But before we begin, I'll encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Now, the author's profile. George Orwell is a pen name. The real name of the author is Eric Otto Blair. He was born on June 1903 and he died in 1950. He was an English novelist, essayist, journalist, and critic. He was an outspoken democratic socialist and opposed to totalitarianism, and is reflected throughout his works. He has contributed a lot of works to popular culture such as Big Brother, Thought Police, and Room 101, because these words have become part of the English language. Now, the summary. The main character in the novel is Winston Smith, who is a member of the Outer Party in Oceania. He works for the Ministry of Truth, and his work is to rewrite history and make it conform with current political thinking. Oceania is governed by a single political party which brainwashes the citizens to obey their leader, Big Brother. The party limits free thought, but Winston still has his humanity. He keeps a diary of what is happening in order to help overthrow the party. In his desire to rebel against the government, he eventually makes Julia a colleague with the same ambition. They fall in love, but Winston and Julia are forbidden to fall in love, so they secretly have sexual contacts. Unknown to Winston and Julia, they are being watched using telescreens. Everything they do is being watched, even in the bedroom. Winston and Julia then rent a room in a neighborhood inhabited by the pros to keep their affair secret. They also associate with a rebel group, the Brotherhood, who are a group of dissenters whose ambition is to overthrow or topple the controlling party. Winston then gets to meet O'Brien at the Brotherhood, who in reality is working for Big Brother. Winston and Julia are eventually caught in the trap sent by O'Brien. They are sent to the Ministry of Law for a violent re-education. At the ministry, Winston is tortured by O'Brien, who employs the method of doublethink, or the ability to hold two opposing beliefs in one's mind and simultaneously believe in both of them. Winston resists the re-education attempt because he still has his humanity. So O'Brien takes him to room 101, the fear torture chamber where prisoners meet their greatest fear. Winston's fear is rats, so a cage of rats is put over his head. Winston screams and tells them, "Do it to Julia," to signify that he has lost his humanity. He becomes a changed man. His dignity and humanity have been destroyed. Satisfied, O'Brien releases him. Later, Winston encounters Julia, who has also been changed by the re-education. The two of them are no longer interested in each other. Big Brother has won, and Winston loves Big Brother. Now for the plot. In the novel, time mostly moves linearly, but sometimes the story is told in the form of flashbacks. There are few comforts in the country of Oceania because the society is a repressive one. The conflict and action begins when Winston begins to write his thoughts in a diary. He would not allow the party to take away his humanity, but unknown to him, when he bought the diary, the party started watching him. We see Winston expressing his emotional side when Julia, a colleague whom he thought was a spy, hands him a note that says, "I love you." Winston also confesses his love to her and tells her that if he stops loving her, then he would have betrayed her and betrayed his humanity. The two some know that their love is forbidden, so they rent an apartment in the neighborhood of the pros, where they will be free from intrusion. But they did not know that Big Brother watches everyone. Big Brother sees everything. At the end of book 2, Winston and Julia fall into the trap of the secret police. That is when the book changes from an optimistic tone to one of despair and darkness. The person who betrayed Winston and Julia is O'Brien, a member of the Thought Police who had posed as a member of the subversive Brotherhood. In police custody and under interrogation, he is told that 2 plus 2 is 5, but Winston would not accept it. He maintains that it is 4. He shows images of prisoners begging for help not to be taken to the dreaded room 101. But because Winston would not be broken, he is taken to room 101. There he breaks down emotionally, physically, and mentally. He comes to accept the party's doctrine and now believes that 2 plus 2 is 5, or whatever the party says is right. Satisfied that Winston has betrayed Julia and rejected his humanity, he is released. He encounters Julia and discovers that she has also betrayed him. He doesn't love Julia anymore. He now loves Big Brother. So what is the theme? The predominant theme in the novel is that totalitarianism is dangerous. It destroys humanity. It also destroys freedom of thought and self-expression. This is a government with absolute power. Orwell wants the reader to believe that totalitarianism needs to be opposed, especially of the sort he had witnessed at Russia. Otherwise, the evil portrayed in the novel will become a reality. Orwell believes that the freedom we enjoy today in society would not exist in such a system. Every aspect of human life will be under control, that even having a disloyal thought is against the law. When he wrote the novel, communism was not being viewed as an evil by the West. But Orwell has first-hand seen its effects when he visited communist countries, and he wanted the West to realize that fact. Words such as Big Brother has become commonplace in popular culture. In Big Brother, Orwell depicted a picture of a situation where the state uses technology to spy and watch its citizens. Also, technology was being used to torture the citizens who do not bow to the party's ideology. In his day, there were no computers, but Orwell would be said to have seen into the future, because today, Orwell's fears are being carried out in some countries where social media is actively monitored by the state. That is the concept of Big Brother. These are the reasons why Orwell's novels are still popular more than 70 years after it was written. Now, for the message in the story. The message of the novel is that civilized society is vulnerable and subject to manipulation by the state, which could use propaganda to control people. State control would result in a loss of human dignity, including our civilization. We would be unthinking robots, absolutely obedient to the whims and caprices of the state and its politicians. Such a situation would result in an unaccountable government that will destroy both free speech and free thinking. Humans would only do what they are told without any contrary opinion. Although one would imagine that the novel was somewhat extreme in depicting such a picture, yet in a relative way, we can see this happening, especially in some African countries. So, that is the review of the novel 1984. It was a very enjoyable read. If you like me to review any novel on this channel, I encourage you to post the novel in the comment section, and I'll surely read it and review it. Also, I'll be publishing more videos in the coming days. So subscribe to this channel. And as always, I will say happy reading and enjoy viewing. Have a nice day.